guys, it's Sam, and this is my spoiler-free review of Daughter of Smoke and Bone by Laini Taylor. Now this book, I'm sure most of you know what it is since I'm super late on the bandwagon, but this is the first book in a YA urban fantasy series. It follows our main character of Karou, who lives in Prague, and she is a bit of an unusual girl in that the hair that grows out of her head grows out blue, and she collects teeth for a certain kind of character named Brimstone. One day handprints start appearing on the doorways to Brimstone's shop, and everything kind of takes off from there. So first off, I put off this series for a really long time because I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about it. I've talked about before that I don't really like reading books with like demons or a lot of Christian mythology in it for a number of reasons, for my anxiety, but also just for the fact that I don't tend to like books like that anyway. So I know the tagline for this series is that an angel and a devil fell in love and it did not end well. And I was like, oh, I don't like reading books about angels. Like, it's not my thing. It's not my paranormal creature of choice. Like, I don't like angel and devil stories, like, and them falling. Like, I just don't like it. I don't like it. So I wasn't gonna read it for the longest time. And then I finally read a couple years ago now, almost 2 years ago, Laini Taylor's short story, In My True Love Gave to Me, and loved her writing style. So I was like, okay, maybe I have to give this a chance. And everyone that I've talked to was like, I think it'll be fine. They're chimera, and like, the angels are completely different, da 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 da. And they were right, because I freaking loved this. So first off, let me talk about the world building with this book. This takes place in Prague, like I said, and it's such a immersive, atmospheric place. Just Prague in general, I've never been there before, but I hear about it and I've seen pictures, and it's just so beautiful, and it's the perfect setting for this because it's this kind of creepy, almost otherworldly at times place where you really do feel like magic could be real and that something supernatural could be right around the corner, and it's just so old and full of history and stuff, and you really get a sense of that in here. Also, the whole worlds with the different creatures that we have, like, the creatures are things that people, like, normal people don't know about, right? They're not out in the open like some urban fantasies are. So their worlds are really cool and interesting too, and are done in a really interesting way, and I loved that. I love the chimera so much. And they're just like really very interesting creatures, and I can't wait to learn more about them. And I also love the kind of angel mythology in here as well, because like I said, I don't tend to like Christian mythology being used. Like, I think it's borderline kind of lazy because, especially in Western world, it's so prevalent that like it doesn't take a lot, I feel, in my opinion. But this is definitely a different take, and it takes both the chimera and the angels in a completely different direction, and I really enjoyed that. Next we have our characters. I want to talk about Karou first because she is a character that I was like instantly attached to. Again, she's kind of my archetype for a character that I really enjoy. She is spunky and sassy and impulsive and inquisitive and always wants to know what's going on. Very smart, also artistic, like everything about her I really love. She can be hashtag petty sometimes. Like, I just really enjoy her. From the instant that we met her, like, I was instantly attached to her. She also has a best friend named Zoo, and she's really great as well. Like, she is just wonderful, and their friendship is really important to me because that's the first focus you get in the story. Like, you go into the story with the tagline and everything, kind of knowing that there is this romance element to it and that everyone talks about that, but their friendship is like the first relationship that you see and is the most important relationship that you see. And then you also have Karou's relationship with her family and her little like found family, and that's really important too. So those things are showcased first before we even have any talk of romance, which is awesome. Then we have Akiva, who is the angel guy, and I was fully prepared to just be like, not like Akiva. Like, I was like, okay, I don't know, like, he's an angel, and like, that's really hokey kind of, and I don't know, and I don't think I'm gonna like it. Wrong. Like, I love him too, and I love Karou more, but I really like him. I think he also is a complex character. We don't know a ton about him in this first book yet, but I think we're gonna learn more. The things we did learn, I really liked. And we also have this dynamic between them, which I think some people might not potentially like because it can read as insta-love. I didn't think that it did because there's a lot of groundwork laid, a lot of foreshadowing done for Karou especially, and this like the feelings that she has and like how lonely she is as a person, just as like a core personality trait. And so when you have Akiva being introduced, their dynamic, and I don't want to go much into it, but their dynamic makes sense to me, and I do not feel that it's an insta-love relationship in any way, but I can see how some people might not like the series because they think that, but I definitely recommend anybody reading this book, reading it to the end, even if you feel like that part is rubbing you the wrong way. It didn't for me. I was instantly like, all on board for them. Like, and again, I fought it. Like, I didn't want to, you know? Like, I was like, no, I'm not gonna open my heart too much to this because, like, what if I don't like it, da da da. No, I really did. Lastly, let me talk about the plot. And the plot is something that I feel like I can't really go into in a non-spoiler way, and that's why I feel like I hesitated to read this book for so long too, is because people couldn't really tell me a good synopsis for it. Like, it didn't really make sense. I was like, what is going on? So the whole thing is like brimstone, and she collects teeth for him, and that's weird, and like, what? So we have this kind of setup going on with it, and the first part of this book, or like first third, can be a little slow because there's things being set up. I didn't find it slow because I loved the characters and I love the writing, but I know some people kind of find it slow and they're like, what's the whole point of this and what's going on? But you definitely get that revealed to you, and it's revealed very slowly, which I actually like in books, when you have this like kind of pulling back the curtain thing going on, and that's definitely what happened with this, especially with it being an urban fantasy, and it starts out being very like, everything's normal, and then you're like, everything's not normal. So that's kind of cool. And I think it moved at a pretty decent pace, honestly. Like, I think the world building was really important, and there is an element later on in the story where the story does kind of change gears a little bit, and I think you're either gonna love it or hate it at that point, like, that whole change of gears. Like, I really like how that's going to carry over into the rest of the series, but it is a little bit jarring because you kind of switch gears a little bit with that. But overall, I loved this book. I had very, very few, like, problems with it whatsoever. I have no issues. Like, there's a lot of things that it did that are things that I really like, or even just tropes that I really like. I wouldn't consider this book tropey at all, but there's a few, like, themes that I feel like are themes that pop up in books. Oh my gosh, being, like, so, explaining things so well here. But I do want to talk about this book more in a spoilery way because I feel like I need to, especially in order to just talk about all these things and all these feelings that I have about it. But I gave this book 4.5 out of 5 stars. So comment down below, let me know what you thought of Daughter of Smoke and Bone. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see all of you guys soon. Bye!